A villain is a character who is often evil actions are important to the plot. Our heroes have overcame their first villain, a red cap who murdered a halfling man, a man destined for great things. However, even despite all this, the eclipse in the sky still hasn't seemed to move, and the conspiracy of ravens head northeast from the Vagabond Crossroads straight into the Vagabond Forest. One may wonder, what is the real villain here? Why has the sun seemingly gone into hiding? Or what is trying to take away the sun's power? What is this antagonist that seems to have made an enemy of all mortal life? My name is Christopher Rondeau, and this is Skald's Tale, Night of the Black Sun. Our party still looks around, recovering from the adrenaline of the fight of the Redcap. Taking a moment to catch the breath, they head off to the northeast to find this conspiracy of ravens. This force that seems, at the very least, to be in charge of the solar eclipse that's still present amongst us. But before we get into that, let us introduce our cast of characters one more time. Leo Dawnstrider. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your character, your description, and maybe a little bit about his headspace in the current situation?
Hello. Leo is a half-drow champion. He is wielding a dwarven battle axe, one-handed with a shield, while wearing a breastplate. And right now he is having questions that he wants answered.
Okay. And let's go to Barnabas real quick.
Barnabas is a rock-blooded dwarf who stands at about 4 feet 2 inches tall, a respectable dwarven height. Kind of looks like a ranger mixed with a woodsman. Carries with him a well-made dwarven war axe and a well-worn traveler's cloak travels behind him.
All right.
Currently... Oh, right, headspace, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, headspace, he's got like a little bit, the darkness is like kind of a little bit in the back of his mind. You know, he's experienced these eclipses before. This one's lasting a little longer than usual, but that's not necessarily strange because he doesn't fully understand. So really his focus is more on what's got the forest so disturbed.
All right. So, as you finish this battle with the Redcap, you do see above the tree line. We are in dim light conditions, so it is still fairly dark, but you guys should have a dark vision if I'm not mistaken. Even Yvette Yaldwin seems to be able to move pretty functionally in this particular setting. She takes a deep breath as she extends her magic to heal, as per last session, and begins to head further into the forest. Can I get a marching order? Yvette is in the lead currently, but that may change if you push yourself in front of her. I think we established that Barnabas was the better tracker, the better visual thing last week, so if you want to play on that a little bit.
Barnabas would go second, probably, just to make sure that we didn't get lost.
Okay. So Yvette is paving the way, being a pathfinder almost, and searching for where to go, trying to follow this conspiracy of ravens. Takes a moment, kind of like takes in the party, a party of circumstance, I would say. Looks at both Barnabas and Leo Dawnstrider, and just kind of to break some of the silence, she asks, like, Are you one of those folks from down below, a half drow on the surface?
Leo will nod and say, "My father brought me here when I was a young boy."
Oh, so you've lived on the surface for a while then.
Leo smiles kinda and says, "I found a home with some dwarves over in the Hellfire Citadel, and they taught me their craft, so I was able to make a living."
That the Hellfire Citadel, is that not? Are you from the Hellfire Citadel?
He shakes his head. "I was born in down in the Underdark, or whatever it's called in this setting."
What about you, Barnabas? Are you from the Hellfire Citadel? You guys have remarkably similar styles and weaponry.
I was wondering the
I
same.
well, originally, I was from the Hellfire. I parted ways after. Well, I don't want to get into that, but but more recently been traveling a bit. Been a long time since I called that place home.
Understood. Sometimes we lose our home changes where we are, wherever our feet may take us. I used to own a boat, so I understand traveling quite well. But you half drow, are you not allergic to the sun? Does your secondary blood sort of take over that? Is sun allergy a recessive trait?
He shrugs. "It does not seem to affect me as it does my brother, and I do not know why."
Some may wonder if that is the solution to dealing with the sun allergy. I wonder if, well, that's another thought. So these ravens, you think they're linked to anything? Maybe the Shadowlands, or and there's a fey creature here. What do you think we're up against? How to prepare?
Well, when you don't know what you're up against, you prepare the best you can. That's all. He doesn't know how to prepare either. Blowing steam.
Well, we cannot prepare if we don't know what we're preparing for. So perhaps we should go do some looking.
All right. Well, Yvette will continue to pave the way as we follow these flocks or conspiracies, as we've learned. Conspiracy of ravens heading bits by bits. You guys travel for a little bit of time, about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, kind of, at least from Yvette's intention, kind of going into a very, very concentrated silence, spending a lot of the physical energy just looking around, making sure that we're moving at an okay pace. And you travel for a little while, and we do see a singular lamppost on the pathway. Seems to emanate pretty brightly compared to the current dark surroundings. This will signify that you are almost near the standing stones in the Vagabond Forest. Well, we're almost here. They seem to be circling. Do we just want to approach the standing stones, or
I don't see why not. Barnabas kind of whispers.
kind
Do
of
we
whispers?
know any history besides that it was a place where deities were said to be worshipped?
You can give me a religion check or a history check. I do require you to be trained in it to give me that check.
There's no history. There's lore.
Lore. So
I have guild lore.
let's take a religion check. Then
Wow. They actually have a lot to that.
I'm not trained in it. Don't have points in wisdom, but I am trained in religion.
okay. So Yvette considers your question. Well, we do know that there are a bunch of standing stones. They said that once upon a time they would open when the gods wanted to walk among us. We see many sort of religions that does this. The ziggurat that's in the regal forest, for example. The dragon deity is supposed to land on top of the ziggurat and walk amongst his people in his humanoid form. And this is much the same idea when it came to our primary rulers, Persephone, Mephisto, Morgan, and Pan. This was the mortals' way of trying to get them to us, and it's it's never been successful. It's all hearsay, but it's a beautiful landing site to meditate and pray. These stones have all these designs on them that depict all the gods and their people. So it's a good pilgrimage for sure. I don't know why the ravens are flocking though. I would be on arms with all of these creatures coming about.
The ravens are the interesting thing that I'm probably concerned about.
Well, let's approach with caution. And maybe some slight trepidation. We don't know what is in front of us. It could be anything.
In front of us or behind us.
As you guys are approaching, why don't we take a perception check?
Hey.
Nice.
Actually rolled good today.
Hey. I hope I roll well as well. But Barney, so you from the distance of the standing stone, you can hear the sound of what appears to be a branch snapping. You are about maybe 100 feet from the standing stone thus far.
Uh-huh. This branch snapping sounds like big creature or normal nature sound?
It's not a large creature, to be certain. It actually seems rather small, but it's you guys are on edge. It sounds heavier than what would be a like a rabbit or something like that, but not as heavy as a humanoid.
Can I spot the source of this noise?
Depends where you're looking. Are you looking towards the stone, or are you looking away from the stone?
Probably more in whatever direction the sound came from.
Okay, so if you take a visual look of the standing stones. First and foremost, we'll change maps.
Oh boy.
And we are able to see these three small creatures. It looks like one of them is currently like leaning against one of the standing stones, and two of them are floating around it. These creatures appear to be very, very round, almost like the size of a ball, but they open their mouth and they have these huge spiked teeth, and they have a tail coming behind them. They are reddish in color, though like the gum and the teeth does imply a degree of purple from the gum and yellow from these very, very sharp teeth, shark-like almost. You can kind of see the multiple rows that approach there. And as you take a look, this bottom portal here, I pinged on the wrong layer. This bottom portal here is open, and it has a red sheen to it.
Oh boy.
What are those?
Well, that don't look good.
Every time I say that, though, I keep thinking of the meme.
What are those?
Let's go ahead and pause the scene for just a split second. Labrat.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
So we talked a little bit about what you were doing in this forest. You also came from the festival and participate in some of the festivities there. I was curious, and I should have maybe prepped you for this a little better, but do you think you went there as a participant in the competitions, or as maybe trying to sell some brews, I think we'll call it?
Probably less sell some brews and more try and pick up new ingredients. Learning the intricacies of his craft and how exactly all of the things work together, which is kind of an endless process, especially if you're an elf.
Mm-hmm.
But for him, he's more trying to pick up as much as he can to see what he can make with it. So he definitely would have stopped to, at least watch the competitions and all sorts of things there and try the food and everything. But for the most part, he was there to pick up new ingredients to test out with all of his brews and things like that.
Okay. So as we move forward, then you would recognize these three people actually, who are traveling in this other party. You recognize both Barnabas, who is a dwarf, and Leo, who is a half-elven drow, from their participation in the there was a brawl and a dueling competition. So throw 10 people in a ring, they beat themselves up until one of them is a victor, and then duels are one-on-one battles. But you remember this woman as well. These people are traveling with Yvette Yaldwin. She is a performer, a famous performer from all around the continent, so she's probably been to the places you are from once or twice, and currently she would be donning like adventuring gear, which, she's a performer, so she probably shouldn't be in that. But as we approach this scene, we will go with that in mind. Why don't you give me a character description, please?
Sure. So Mythanar is fairly tall. He's about, say, 5'11", 6 foot. He is an elf. He has pure black eyes, slightly tan skin, and his hair is very dark brown, that kind of matches the tree trunks of the forest that we just stepped out of, I suppose. He wears a long traveling cloak with all manner of little loops and pockets and things on the inside of it, and then also has a bandolier and a belt that have all sorts of things hanging off of them as well. He looks a little bit like an alchemy store that picked up and got legs if you look at him for too long. but his clothes are all extremely finely made, so it's almost an eclectic mix of a guy who couldn't decide if he wanted to go step into his workshop that morning or step into the local, ballroom. So
Nice. Well, you have also been following this conspiracy of ravens. It was an odd event to you. You woke up the next morning. There was an explosion. You saw ravens circling, an eclipse happen, and rumors of a unicorn? ? So a lot of people have opted to try to stay in the town and deal with some of the consequences of that. But your curiosity kind of gets the better part of you. But you begin to approach these standing stones as well. What do you do?
So probably most of the way through the forest, Myth's head has been in the clouds, almost literally, in that he's been pretty much staring straight upwards at the ravens the entire time and hasn't really been watching too much where he's going, which tends to be a bit of a trait of his, as I'm sure you guys will find out very soon. But when he hits the clearing, he kind of stops and blinks and looks around a little bit confused as he realizes that he's not in the forest anymore, and where the heck is he? But upon seeing the rest of the group and the weird, rotund little red creatures, I think you said they were, he kind of awkwardly and a little bit skittishly starts scooting his way over toward the rest of the group, not wanting to raise his voice and yell over to them just in case he happens to get the attention of the little red puffball things over there, but definitely wanting the safety of the group at the very least.
They're deaf and blind, and so you can meet up with the group pretty quick. So while the rest of the party is kind of focused on these things, right off of their peripheral, they get this view of this elven alchemist shop. As I am donning it.
That works.
We have a gnome that's always stuck in blankets and an elf always stuck in potions. So it's a bulky, we'll say bulky party.
Potion tree. You just grab one, drink it, new one grows.
I do want to say that you also saw this lamppost as you were walking in. Not the same lamppost that they saw, but right. Signifies that at the very least there is a sense of technology here for you. This is definitely clockwork technology.
Right. So more something that I'd be familiar with.
Right. So
this is Narnia.
This is Narnia. This is where the satyr comes in and plays a flute. But clockwork technology, this sort of ever flaming torch, I think is the proper term for this. Or a light bulb, depending on where you're from. So interest to you, maybe. Back of the mind sort of thing.
For sure. So if I can get over to these guys without issue.
Do you happen to have the nomadic background?
I don't, actually. I have the tinker background.
Gotcha. I was wondering if perhaps, if your character has a tendency to wander, if our characters might have crossed paths in both of their very long lives.
It's entirely possible, actually.
How long has Myth been traveling?
How old did I make Myth? Let me just double check that. I could have sworn I put it in here somewhere. Oh, I didn't. All right, well, that works. Myth's probably been traveling about 20 years or so. So, I mean, he's an elf. He lives for upwards of 500 years anyway. So he has spent a good bit of time away from home, kind of exploring things, perfecting his craft to the point where he's at now, where he can actually use it for anything beyond just blowing things up by accident, which I'm sure will still happen once in a while, but we'll get to that when we get there. But most of his traveling has kind of been exploring the world a little bit, learning a little bit what freedom really is, and trying to experience everything that he possibly can. So it's totally possible that we would have run across one another at some point or another. So I can't imagine that we would have had too long of an interaction, or that we'd be like the best of friends, but we might recognize one another's faces.
Okay.
Just at a glance.
One of the most primary festivals in this setting is going to be the winter solstice in Zhengzhou, which is on the southern half of the continent. It's almost as big as the Vagabond Forest, but it is a place that attracts a lot of people, but is really only special to the people of the Dragon Fates, both Raksha, the good dragon, and Siren, the evil sea serpent. So we can place that you did there. There isn't as many like competitions in the Vagabond Forest, but it's a good place to purchase things, see things. So we will place this interaction, I think, in that town. This is the Kingdom of Long in Zhengzhou, the winter solstice.
Absolutely, that would totally work.
Sure.
But yeah,
Works
so
for me.
Barney can see this person that he kind of recognized. Probably takes a few moments for it to click, but can recognize the face off a brief interaction.
The important part is Barnabas won't mistake him for the demon wizard that summoned these imps.
That is probably a really good thing. Regardless, so Mythonar kind of keeps his head down a little bit, tries to hunker down so that the imp things don't immediately spot him, and just scoot as quickly as he can toward you guys. When he's about halfway there, he gives kind of a sheepish smile and a quick wave, and then keeps scooting on over until he reaches you all, and keeps his voice down as he says, "Hi, hello. I'm terribly sorry to bother you. Are these yours by chance?"
Yeah, Yvette just puts her finger to her mouth. Shh, as these deaf and blind floating balls of demon seem to completely be oblivious to the elf escorting around the tree line. But you win some, you lose some. But shh, be very quiet. They might hear us.
Of course. I'm terribly sorry. It's not very often that you see these sorts of things just traipsing about. I was assuming that they belonged to you, but it doesn't seem that way.
Well, I seem like the sort of person to be bringing these things around.
Well, I don't very well know. I mean, I happened upon a group of 3 of you out in the middle of the forest with 3 of them. For all I know, each one is your individual pet, and this is some sort of bizarre convention for imp owners. I'm just as confused as you are.
Barnabas would look at him long and hard and sort of squint and be like, "Are you being a smartass right now?"
I've been accused of it before, but I think the topic at hand is just a bit more important than that. If these aren't your imps, whose imps are they?
Silence.
What do I know about imps?
Yeah.
So the I'll take a religion check. We'll do religion again. Everyone can give me this one if they want to.
Pretty sure I'm untrained, but let's give it a whirl. My 1. Ooh, that's sweet 1.
Oh, nice.
Somehow beat out the champion.
I should have you vet
I'm not
roll as well.
rolling very well. It's all good. I'll roll better when it counts.
Wow, Yvette's making us all look bad.
She's the cleric.
She's a healer bard.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense then.
So both Leo and Barnabas will give this to PCs as opposed to NPCs. These aren't imps, these are daemons. They come from a dark place of the hells. But normally if they are bound by somebody, there should be a visual component to it, like a ring or a necklace or a bracelet or some sort of jewelry that signifies the binding. Or else, if you don't have this sort of component to it, it could cause them to break free and murder their summoner. So these people don't appear to be bound at all.
Well, that does not bode well.
These are hellish creatures. They do not deserve to be on this plane.
Is that a signification that sword or axe came out?
Maybe. If we're gonna fight them.
All right. Well,
Yeah, sounds like fight time.
if you intend to take lay it into battle, maybe we should take just a moment and ensure that you're not going to bleed out on the way in there. And Myth quickly digs into his cloak and pulls out a pair of vials with kind of frothing red liquid inside, and pushes one toward Barnabas and one toward Leo. Says, "Here, this might help just a bit."
I'll look at Barnabas and
Sniff.
raise an eyebrow.
This is not the time to be drinking.
Trust me, it's nothing that'll dull your sensibilities or anything. It'll actually pep you up just a bit, and hopefully ensure that you're able to take just a few more hits than you're currently able to.
So it won't get me drunk?
Unfortunately not, my diminutive friend.
Oh well. Cheers anyway.
Alright, and Leo will drink it.
All right. So those are minor elixirs of life. So this one is for Barnabas, and then this one is for Leo. And I rolled the minimum healing that I could have possibly rolled for each of you. So enjoy 1 health.
No bonuses.
No, it's just the straight 1d6 for potions of healing.
You never know, that 1 health might come in handy.
Yeah.
You critical it though.
You don't. Unfortunately, there's no way for me to take the critical whatever off. I don't know why the macro's like that, but that's how it is.
Hey, we also gain a +1 bonus on saving throws against disease and poisons, which might be helpful here in a minute.
That is true.
I don't know if these things have a poison, but just in case.
Wouldn't hurt.
Absolutely.
Leo would know that the imp that he fought earlier had a poison effect to it, so could be good.
There you go.
All right.
So that bonus will last for 10 minutes. I think that's okay. It is in there. Cool.
All right. So, what's your approach going in?
Barnabas will draw his axe and look to Leo and say, "After you."
Not being sneaky or just going in. Alright. Well, I will not just run in and go around that way.
All right. We are in initiative. Go ahead and roll for me, please.
Oh, not bad.
Not bad.
We actually got the order though. I go before you, so you will follow me in.
It's perfect.
Oh, I'm terrible at life. I forgot to have myself selected, so let me edit that.
No worries.
And we go before them is the best part.
Mostly.
It does help.
Except for Yvette.
So, there wasn't a stealthy approach, so everyone is kind of aware with each other as weapons drawn on your side. You guys begin to approach the edge of this map. I'm gonna put this here. And yeah, so as they do this, they begin to float up a little bit, and as you get a clearer vision of them, they seem to have eyes all around their round body. So they seem to almost have these this 360 vision, despite rolling a nat 1 on their earlier perception check. But they can see around them, but they don't seem very smart. So take that as you will. Leo, you are first act.
Okay, I will.
Speak up.
I am going to stride 10 feet, use an action to get out a javelin, and throw it at this closest one.
What's the range of a javelin?
30 feet.
Go for it.
I do not have it
30
on
feet.
this sheet, though.
Is it strength, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I was just gonna roll my battle axe.
Go for it. Okay.
It's a d6 though, so I'll roll a d6 instead.
D6 plus 3. Alright.
6. And then my last action will be raise shield.
I think it's 1 to draw, 1 to throw, 1 to walk.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Can I use the rest of my movement,
Sure.
or is it like all in one?
Yeah. Like last combat, these little hill things are considered difficult terrain. So you would have, what, 10 feet of movement left? If my memory serves me?
Yeah. I just want to get back down to the bottom of it. It's not
That's
a big
fine.
deal.
Okay. Go ahead and describe that.
So, Leo, noticing that we're all just gonna go in, decides to step over the hill. As he peeks it, he pulls a javelin out of the back and hurls it. And the javelin goes by the thing, just clipping it like its wing, cutting a hole through it, but not dealing a lot of damage.
Nice. Mythonar.
All right. So Mythonar is going to see that we're starting combat here. Dig into his cloak again. Pull out this time what looks like a frothing kind of greenish vial. Yank the cork out with his teeth and lob it at the closest imp. Which is 55 feet away, so that is just one range increment out. And when it lands either on or near him, unless I nat 1 this, he will get hit by an alchemist's fire. So it bursts and lights up with flame. So does an 11 hit?
11 will not hit, unfortunately.
Okay, so then he will instead just take 1 damage from the splash as it lands on the ground beside him, but he's still caught in the spread of the flames.
Nice. So I'd also imagine part of the grass starts to get singed as well. Yeah, so anything else you want to do before we get into cinematic?
No, I think that's it, because I think it takes more than 1 action to ready an attack.
Correct.
Okay, so then I'm good. I'm done.
All right. So as you go take this vial and you start to chuck it across them, you notice that the biggest weakness against this strategy is that they are slightly floating off the ground about like a foot or two. So they're able to just kind of move backwards, and it bares its teeth at you. Barney, are you going to be the brave soul who runs in?
Oh, absolutely. Barnabas isn't the sit back and throw things kind of guy, even though he does have some hammers that he can throw. So, you will stride once. And stride twice. And use a strike action with his warhammer, or his war axe rather, in 2 hands. And yeah, we'll swing for that imp right there.
Do it. $12 will
I don't
miss.
think a 12 hits.
No, that was really good damage though.
Yeah, max
Wow.
damage though. Yeah.
Go ahead and give me a free action to
Charging through the field and... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a free action to perceive real quick.
There you go. That was a good roll.
So
Wish that was my attack roll.
as you look to the center circle, you can see this reddish gleam on the front, signifying that this portal is very likely open. But if you look over to the right side of the standing stones to the east, you do notice that there is also a purplish sheen on the one to this far right here.
Oh, I see.
There is a purplish sheen to that as well. Some sort of portal is opened here, and for a brief moment, you see what appears to be this raven folk creature kind of stick its head out and pull back into the portal. This perhaps is why you missed momentarily distracted. Do you have a cinematic for me?
Barnabas was just gonna charge down, or is this up or downhill? I can't quite tell.
This is slightly uphill.
Okay, yeah, I'll charge up the hill, maneuver around this corner, and sort of leave himself into the open, but give himself a swing at that imp. Unfortunately, it's just a little too short. Flying enemies are his weakness.
Cool. So this creature's gonna look at you and just kind of like bare its teeth, and he is going to try to bite you 3 times with his jaws. 7, which would be 15, 12, and then a nat 20.
Well, I'm immune to crits, so he's out of luck.
Are you?
No.
Dang. I know there are items
You'll
like
buy
that.
it.
I almost bought it. So you are going to take 14 points of piercing damage, and then you're going to take 2 points of evil damage. So as he bites you, and he like tries to bite you once, tries to bite you twice, and then for the third attack, he just like grips onto your upper shoulder. He does this, and you can feel like not just the bite wound, but you can feel something stirring within you, and it's like this emotional pain in the center. It's just like he's playing on your natural feelings, but that'll end his turn.
So is this evil damage lethal or non-lethal?
It's a good question. Probably if it happens enough, it could be lethal.
This might be a short fight, fellas.
That's why I wanted to wait back and see what happened first.
Go ahead and give me a fortitude saving throw.
Is this by chance against a poison effect?
Sure. Alright,
19.
you're good. Alright, well, Yvette's going to wander up. We'll take the stride action here. Kinda looks at Barnabas and shakes his head. She will do her healing light thing.
Ow.
So she will heal you 5 plus 8, so 13 HP. So she runs up. It looks like she was about to cast another spell until she sees this thing like right onto your shoulder, and just goes, and then summons this bright white light and chucks it at Barnabas, and his wounds close ever so slightly. However, it is the two enemies' turn. I'm gonna take this one. He's going to stride right here. And then this one is going to shape change into a small scorpion, and he's going to make a stinger attack on you. I apologize. But 7 will probably miss. Barney?
Yes, a 7 will miss.
Okay. This one will just be old-fashioned and try to bite you twice. A 13 and a 6.
Neither of those hit either.
Alright, sounds good. Leo Dawnstrider, you are up.
Well, didn't want to do it, but he needs help, so I'm gonna move forward. So that's 20 to get there, right?
So it's just entering the space that takes 10 feet to move, but not exiting it, so it's 15.
Okay. So 25, 20, and I will stride and raise shield.
Okay.
Because I haven't been able to draw my axe yet.
Miss.
Alright, seeing as we're all getting in here pretty deep, Myth is going to stride up next to this cleric as this player checks some distances. Perfect, okay. So, Myth scurries forward, really not wanting to be left behind at the edge of the dark forest near these henges here. And as he goes, he draws up both hands, and his palms ignite in flame, and then he rears one back and lobs it at the very same one that Leo has been throwing javelins at for one of these.
It's a critical.
Oh man.
16 damage?
Yep.
Alright. This creature is going to burn up, and he is going to leave this purplish gem on the ground under him. Anything else?
No, I think that's all 3 actions. So stride, somatic, verbal.
Alright. Is there because there is a somatic and verbal incantation. I'm very interested to see like the cinematics of like what is like spell casting for Mithanar.
So for him, he kind of he sweeps both hands around and sort of brings them together as if he's trying to waft something in between his palms. And then there's just a tiny bit of a spark in the center, and a flame ignites there. And he sort of murmurs some pseudo-magical, nonsensical words in Elven, and then lobs the fire.
All right, nice. Nonsensical words in Elven. And everyone who speaks Elven goes, huh?
Exactly.
Perfect. 1 down, friends. Barney, you are up.
Barnabas, feeling less than pleased about the both assault and the successful damage he had taken, grips his weapon with 2 hands and throws a lot of power into the next attack, activating a power attack, using 2 actions to activate power attack.
Sure.
Which really is just a normal attack. Hopefully hits.
17 hits.
Adds an extra d12 for a total of 20 damage. And with his third action, he will spend it on another attack, except against... So the initial attack was against the one in front of him. And his third action will be an attack against the adjacent target. Now normally this would be pretty much at a d20 -1, but
Okay.
because his weapon is sweeping, he gets a +1 if he attacks a different target than he already attacked in this round.
Okay, so
it's
flat.
just a flat d20 roll.
Okay.
Which
19 hits.
I assume.
19 hits.
For d12 plus 4. $12 points of damage to the second one.
Nice. He did 32 points of damage in a level 1 round, by the way. Go ahead and
Fighter,
just
baby.
describe
What we're
that.
supposed to do. So, putting that frustration from the previously taken damage, he kind of takes on a powerful stance, and as soon as the weird amalgamation in front of him takes an attack, he takes the opportunity to slash his axe in such a fashion that it will sweep through the first one and into the second one successfully.
Nice. All right. That was your 3 actions, correct?
Yes, that is all my actions.
All right. Well, Yvette looks around. You know, this the scorpion demon thing is pretty hurt. Last leg's hurt, and this one took quite a hit as well. She looks thinks about pulling out her rapier and realizing that at least from the front line is okay. So she pauses. She holds out her hand as 3 white lights begin to appear in them, and she's gonna blow it. All 3 of these orbs will go to our 3 party members here, and this will be a guidance to all 3 of you. So you get a +1 bonus to 1 attack roll, perception check, saving throw, or skill check before the duration ends, which I believe is a minute. So +1 forward for you guys, and we'll do that 3 times for her 3 actions. So this one up top that was trying to bite at you is going to try to determine like the threat. Is the guy with the axe the threat, or the woman in the background shooting white lights at people the threat? But you are closer, so I think we'll try hitting you again. 15.
My AC is 18 currently.
17.
Whew.
Nat 1. All right. So he comes in, tries to. You're rolling really well. I'm really not. Comes in and is just trying to like snap at your face, but it's like always just like a faction too short. So you get like this big whiff of this gross demon breath towards your face. However, the one that is a scorpion will also try to hit you with the stinger. All right, 13. That has to hit. 23.
Yep, that one does hit.
You will take 2 pierce.
Glimpse of redemption.
Yeah. As the stinger comes towards him, Leo's shield lights up.
The foe hesitates under the weight of sin. Visions of redemption playing. I love the flavor text.
I love the champion.
Such a nice ability.
It really is.
I think it makes more sense for him to hesitate. At least in this context. But he will make his 3rd attack at a +0. 3. All right. Oh, man, my one hit
Oh.
ruined my one hit. That will end their turns. They're just trying to to get to Barnabas, but with Leo's assistance, all blows are deflected barely. Leo, you're
Leo's
up.
such a bro.
Finally able to get into combat, he's going to draw his axe and try to finish that one. And we'll see.
Crit.
Oh my god.
And finish it.
For
That's the one with the
sure.
scorpion, right?
Yep, turns into a purplish gem upon its death. Jim and Ash.
Deleted.
Just fly swatted off of his shoulder or wherever it's trying to sting him from.
Aye, cheers, mate.
And then we'll... Yeah, I'll move to the other side of it. I should have... Yeah. So...
Cool. So you can move diagonals at a with less of a penalty there. So you can actually get to like here or here at 20 feet if you're trying to.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, I didn't know that it wasn't like diagonals were double.
So the first and third and fifth diagonal is 5 feet, and the second and fourth and sixth diagonal is 10 feet. So the map arrows actually are built around that concept, if you can see.
Nice.
Alrighty. Cool. End turn.
Yes.
Myth, you're up.
All right. I think I need to step. Yes, I do. All right. So Myth will step forward just a bit, conjure up a bit more fire, and then lob it at the last one. Hopefully, able to finish this off. Fingers crossed. Probably not.
11 will miss.
Okay.
Is there half damage?
No. This one is hit or miss,
All right.
and that's it for me because that was 3 actions.
All right. Barney.
Barnabas will do that thing that warriors do and swing real hard and hopefully hit. Activate it using 2 actions to activate a power attack,
The only way to do things.
of course. Oh, whoops. That's not
30 damage critical
good.
hold.
I know.
Sorry.
If only. I'm not sure if anything special happens on a critic or on a nat 1 besides just I miss.
I don't think so.
Well, in that case, I'll use my third action to strike yet again, this time invoking that +1 from guidance to once again make this a flat d20 roll.
So you can choose to use the guidance after you see the roll.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Oh, that's even better.
Guidance, +1 status bonus. The target chooses which roll to use the bonus on. Oh, before rolling. My apologies. You're right.
Okay, yeah. So this will just be a flat d20 roll then. All right. I might be the chosen one.
Oof.
Nailed it.
2 in a row.
Yeah,
Killing
That's
it. Even
rough.
got him flat-footed and everything.
I know.
Um,
I think there actually is something in the fighter tree eventually that allows me to not miss on a natural 1, as long as I, still beat the AC.
That'd be nice.
It would be
Although
nice.
you'd have to get your attack bonus stupid high.
You could probably do it later levels.
Yeah, I think so.
well, Yvette's going to stride here, and we'll take this white light as it turns into a long, a long beam, and you can see the pointed tip at it. He's going to throw a divine lance for 5 damage.
Good hit. Yeah.
Hey, still doing her part.
But our poor friend here finds himself surrounded So we are going to roll my 3 attacks. Can he do something cooler than just rolling 3 attacks? He can detect alignment. But we will not do that. Oh, okay. So he is going to take a nice little chomp out of Barnabas. 26.
26 does hit.
I'm gonna use the reaction to Glimpse of Redemption if you can.
Glimpse of Redemption.
So all damage against the triggering attack 2 plus your level.
And
So-
it's people too.
Right, after the damage effect is applied. So that's
Right.
8 damage total, so resistance to that. You take 5 damage there.
Okay.
And then it is going to turn invisible. You are,
So
I mean,
what action is that?
it's a spell. 2 actions. You have anything at spells?
No, I don't think so, unfortunately.
Okay. So, like, you guys
I mean,
are...
I have attack of opportunity, but I don't think that counts against spells.
Right. So you guys know that he is still right in front of you. You can still hear him breathing. He hasn't moved yet, but it will be at a slight disadvantage. Leo Dawnstrider.
I'm going to strike where I think he is.
All right, go ahead and roll at a -2.
And
Oof.
And since I guess he's still technically flat-footed, it would have been flat. 20 will hit as he disintegrates at the feet, and a gem appears. So he goes, ah!
not gonna be turning invisible on me.
Look, it was worth a try, okay?
Good hit, Leo.
You did well to hold your ground against 3 of them.
I suppose I did. But these portals are still open, which means there
Yeah.
could be more at any time now.
Portal to your north. You take a look at it, and there is suddenly like a yellow sheen that comes to it, and this small creature. It almost looks like a like a pixie, except the wings are white, as if they're angelic wings. Come out of it, fly up, and start heading out into the further into the forest, and the portal closes. You guys can pursue, I guess, if you wanted to, but that's largely up to you.
It's gonna have quite the advantage over us with the ability to fly.
Yeah.
It seems to move
Be
pretty
hard to
fast
keep
as well.
track of.
And
be
I
hard
thought
to
we
keep
were
track of that
looking
thing.
for the bundle of blankets, because wasn't the horse dead?
The Pegasus was dead. The unicorn carrying the bundle of blankets is still somewhere.
Oh, okay.
So, what would you guys like to do? Yvette is going to start looking at this portal.
The other two are still open. The
Yes,
purple one and the red one. Okay.
correct.
Well, at the very least, Myth wants to go scope out what the deal is with the purple one.
Okay. On these standing stones, we get this these pictures of engraved into the stone. They're as if they were chiseled in and magically preserved to not get the wear and tear of time. But these still things, like, you guys know historically, these things must be like 25, 30,000 years old. You know, very, very long time. In fact, the forest is technically younger than the stonework. The forest was planted around much later. But you look at these chisels, and we see this this figure of a woman who seems to have a masquerade mask covering her face. That has the huge pointed nose of the Raven-esque map. Has these wings that come behind her. They're just full black. And surrounding her are both Raven folk, as well as some form of humanoid. They kind of look human. The ears are not humanoid for sure, but they all seem to be chiseled with like tattoo designs around their chest. All these people here are depicted naked and with these chiseled tattoos. Some of them are holding weaponry. Things like a spiked chain is the most common, as well as some curved blade scimitars. And they seem to be bowing down to this person with the raven mask and the wings expanding out of her back. You recognize this as a depiction to Morrigan, the goddess of the Shadowfell, and her people, both the Raven folk and the Shadow folk, as they're often called.
Well, that's
Well,
spooky.
Just a bit. So Myth kind of frowns and leans in and makes his way across all of the etchings to make sure that he fully understands what he's looking at, and then looks at the rest of the group and says, "You know, this one seems quite dedicated to Morrigan. I can't imagine. Well, I'm certainly not going to badmouth a god next to a portal that may well lead to their personal domain, but I can't imagine it's a terribly good thing that either of these are open."
I
I don't
agree with that.
I don't suppose either of you went to portal closing class.
Gwyn said him.
What is portal closing class?
Well, what is class? Javette, this one seems to depict Mephisto and his two generals or lords of the hells. In fact, they all seem to represent the gods. I guess history speaks true about this place. Though I've never heard of the portal's opening. Maybe that was lost to time. As you look up, the conspiracy of ravens is still circling.
These
What are these?
portals are staying pretty solidly open, right?
The one on the left is not.
Not this one,
Correct.
but the rest of them are.
For simplicity's sake, so the one on the left is the portal to the Fae. You do see the satyr Pan with his pan flute, as well as three figures next to him. One of them seems to be a wolf, and then there are two kind of elvish females. And to the north is going to be a depiction of Persephone, the goddess of the heavens. She is depicted with a flaming sword, seems to be well armored, and she is surrounded by a bunch of different angels. She has one of those wings that are like two sets of wings, one that goes up and one that goes down. And all the other angels are dressed in like the Greek togas, with weapons out as well.
So that's the north one is a celestial one,
Correct.
and it is open and staying open.
No, it just opened for the brief moment to let the angel pixie thing fly out, and closed again.
Yep.
Alrighty. Barnabas kind of wants to stick his head in one of these, just to see what's on the other side. Not this one though, and kind of not this one either.
If I was going to have to go on one, I'd go on the yellow one, probably.
Oh yeah, for sure. Unfortunately, that one's not open.
I don't know, the heavens aren't necessarily a safer place than the hells.
No,
There's still things
no.
to kill you.
Less chance that someone's waiting by the door to kill you.
They'll kill you behind your back.
Yeah. So just don't put your back in.
Surrounding this,
Fine.
these standing stones are also further depictions of the other deities. 4 of them for the elemental planes, and their gods, both Ifrit, the god of the elemental plane of fire, Shiva, the goddess of the elemental plane of ice, Rama for air, and Titan for earth. And these smaller stones that don't seem to be connected to a standing stone seem to be obelisks. The one on the bottom represents Luna. The one on the left represents Raksha. The one on the right is Siren. Luna, goddess of the moon. Raksha, god of dragons. And Siren, the evil sea serpent. However, this northern one here seems to be empty.
Well, that's not ominous at all.
That one's ours.
Dude, that is.
Well, this is an interesting place, but nothing seems to be going catastrophically doomsday-ishly wrong here. Yet.
So Mythonar is actually going to step away from the purple portal and over toward the rest of the group as he looks to Yvette. So far be it for me to make assumptions, but you seem to be at least the leading expert among our group of what exactly we're dealing with here. But if all of these are marked in some form or fashion, and these 2 are open, well, 1, how long before the rest of them open proper? And 2, is there a way to close them?
Well, it is quite likely that these 2 are open, and they may be being closed on the other side. Whoever, portals work 2 ways. We have our section here and then their section there, but we do know that they have been open. We have seen a unicorn, and while we were here, we encountered a fake creature, a murderous fake creature. So these energies are here. I would be just more concerned about the elemental portals. We can see their standing stones here, but they haven't quite opened yet. What does that mean? As far as shutting down these portals, I mean, I'm sure there are rituals a part of it, but try knocking them over? The dwarf Barney here looks pretty strong. Just give it a good shoulder check. But even that may not guarantee catastrophic results. Portal magic, the thing is that portal magic doesn't work. Like, humans, elves, goblins, dwarves have been trying to connect themselves to the natural plane, or to the other planes for years, generations, since the beginning of time, since we learned that the gods existed. We have been trying to make connections with them, and that's why people turn to the faith. People go to church, try to commune with these other beings, but only through death can you really reach there. Sure, there are minor areas that have small influences, like some of the forest can be attributed to the Fae, but there is very rarely a permanent portal that will be able to take you there. At least not in my experience. The goblins were able to connect to the elemental plane of ice, and for like a split second, and nearly flooded half their city. Though I'm sure those rumors are exaggerated. But portal magic is dangerous. This shouldn't be possible.
Should we tell someone about this?
Ooh.
Your guess is as good as mine. This is not exactly my usual afternoon walk through the woods, if we're being realistic.
Are any of the other ones opening on the outer ring?
No. So the only thing interesting about the outer ring, besides there are depictions of the gods and their I was gonna say minions, but what is citizen? No,
Followers?
followers. There we go. I went a lot more tyrannical than you did. The only thing is weird is that this stone up here does not seem to have any marking, which is weird because all how many of them are? Like 12 of them have markings, except for that one.
Do I know which one this... Oh, it has no markings?
It has no markings.
Barnabas will stick his head in the red portal.
First things first, give me a fortitude save. Cool. So you're able to stick your in here and you like begin to inhale all this ash, and like it really begins to hurt your lungs, and your eyes begin to water a little bit, but you do get a few seconds of a glimpse before you kind of have to reactively move back in before you choke on the ash or get a full breathful of it. But you see what appears to be this center circle of lava being built around there, and sitting in the midst of this lava is a giant demon creature. Has large horns coming out of its head, 2 off its sides and 2 right below its chin. Seems to have this reddish skin, and bits and pieces of his armor seems to be there. He is very big and has these large wings. He is wearing armor, and on his right shoulder seems to be this holy symbol of Mephisto, this pentagram. He on his sides, he does have this long sword that seems to be slightly serrated. And the other side, you see what appears to be like some sort of rope that's coiled up, but it's on fire. And he is just sitting within the lava.
Baylor, got it. I'll have you know that if this was any other campaign, my character very well might just throw a rock at that thing to see if it would react.
It would if you want to.
No, I think we'll not open that door this time.
The biggest...
also pull back his head, sort of brush off his face and cough out the ash and be like, well, that's unpleasant.
The biggest obstacle of the Baylor leaving the portal would be the size of the portal. If you were to come through, like it's hard to say exactly how portal magic works because this is a relatively new concept to the party. But
That's true.
he would probably
20 creature.
That's true. But he may he may get stuck, he may get pushed, he may break the portal. So there could be good effects and bad effects. I'm willing to find out.
It's really tempting.
Just 1v1 him, take the whip and the sword.
Yeah. I'm sure that'll work. I'm sure that'll go well. I'm sure he's not just massively bigger than me and probably just so much stronger than me. Just if I was to guess.
But does your character think that?
Probably.
Probably, but...
My character thinks that thing's way too big to fit through this portal, so he might be safe antagonizing it. But he's also not exactly encouraged to put his face back into that portal. And he kind of wants to go check the other one, but not at the same time.
The one where the bird's head came out of?
Yeah, that's what's really got him hesitant on it.
Come on,
So
what's the
you'll
worst that
address the group and
happens?
say, well,
Death, murder.
What do we want to do? I don't think if we're supposed to close it from the other side, I don't think that's going to happen, at least with this one. So maybe just push these stones over and never bother with this portal ever again.
So we took a look around at every single one of these, right? To determine what they're all supposed to be tied to.
More or less, yeah.
Okay. So Myth is going to go ahead and look at Yvette around again and point toward the obelisk that doesn't have anything on it, and mention. So the one to the south was Luna, and the one to the west was Raksha, and then the one to the east was Siren, which does tend to lend a bit of reliability to the fact that perhaps the north is intended to be tied to the sun. And given that we are currently lacking a sun in some form or fashion, what does that mean for this obelisk?
It is... I have no verification for this, but it is as if the religion of soul is being erased. I would be very interested to talk to the Church of Soul and really try to find out. I'm not an extremely religious person. I studied it for the mythology. I thought it would make good stories when I was at a music school. I don't develop my magic from any sort of divinity, but maybe we should head to the capital to find out.
Your idea is just as good as mine, and I haven't the slightest about what we're supposed to do with this sort of thing. The capital seems a wise decision, but are we sure it's similarly wise to leave these open?
Not this one.
Well, we can
Motioning to the red one.
Why don't you ask that guy to close it?
Hey man, by the way, you left the front door open. Do you mind shutting it? Thanks. That'll be a fun conversation for you.
Yeah. I think I'll just close it for him.
So what's your plan there?
Well, if no one's gonna stop him, he'll probably just try and upheave one end of the portal.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a fortitude save.
Yeah, we're definitely backing up for that one.
11. Alright, so you begin to try to push your weight, and it is your effort is pushed back and reinforced against you. So you begin to try to upheave it, and then the same strength is forces you to get pushed down to the ground. You'll take a minuscule one force damage. It's that potion, took away the potion health, and but unable to seemingly move it. This magic is not supposed to work. I don't understand. I've been here before. Other people have been here before. There's nothing here, but it's this is a crossroads for planar magic. This makes no sense to me at all.
Nor to
Alright.
me.
We'll go with plan B then.
Ask him to close
He's
it.
gonna yeah. He's gonna search on the ground for a rock.
Oh dear.
Okay, you find a rock.
I don't mean to be presumptuous, but what are you doing?
I'm going to ask the occupant of whoever lives on the other side of this thing to close the door as kindly as I possibly can, he says, sort of tossing the rock up in one hand.
With a rock? You mean to politely use a rock to ask him to close the door?
Well, you can go ask him if you'd like.
No, thank you. I believe I'll pass on that. Are we sure this is... well, I suppose we have no idea what we're doing, so any idea is better than no idea, assuming we don't get roasted alive by whatever horrors lurk within. So I'll defer to your better knowledge, despite my concerns on the matter, and I'll just be over here. And Myth scoots back a little bit further.
So Barnabas will take a breath of the air that's not full of ash and burning and hold it before he puts his head back in to sort of aim and sling this rock at this massive thing sitting in the lava.
Oh, okay. So
Actually did it.
Who dares enter my domain?
Your door's open.
he's going to stand up as this whip uncoils.
You will pay for your...
You leave before he finishes his sentence.
Alright, it's bad.
Go ahead and perceive everyone but Barney, please. I don't think it makes sense for Barney to perceive.
Totally oblivious.
Leo is just aghast at what just happened.
I'm just checking out the Luna statue, honestly.
Fair. Myth, as you are backing away, you get like a fuller glimpse of the entire circle. You see two things. First and foremost, you see what appears to be this white horse with a horn on top, carrying what appears to be a jumble of blankets, flying towards the center of the circle. The second thing you see is something coming out of the purple portal. Seems to be a man with a cloak, but upon further visuals, his hands seem to be bony and skeletal, and under his face you see a skull. On his back is this large, what you originally thought was a staff until the end of the point of it comes out of the portal, and to prove that it's just this long, wicked scythe.
Well, that's really bad news.
The hour of your end is near. Hear the herald of death. And this is where we'll fade to black today.
So we
Well,
either
alright.
die from that demon, or it just does nothing.
Or the Grim Reaper
Yeah.
rolls in and kills
Yeah.
us. Or we make friends with a
Maybe
unicorn.
Maybe it's a friendly Grim Reaper, like from Billy and Mandy, you know?
I will say, like, his weapon wasn't drawn, so you can take some pressure there, or pressure. Take some solace.
Yeah. His words weren't particularly reassuring, just the same.
Well,
Maybe the Belor will accidentally kill him, and we'll all be spared.
see what's gonna happen is the Grim
the
Reaper's
Balor is redeemed.
the Grim Reaper is going to win, but then the Baylor is going to explode and destroy the world.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Spoilers. Well,
World of Warcraft.
welcome to Skald's Tale, Night of the Black Sun. I hope you enjoyed the show today. Please come back next week for episode 4 while we have our full cast, including Fabi, the gnome bard rogue character. I would like to take a moment to thank our partnership with TTRP Theater, who has graciously allowed us to play on this network. I would also like to thank our partners, both Harry Scannell, our composer, who composed some of the music for us, Brianna Collins, who is our artist, and getting our art set up for us, and Tabletop Audio and Battle Bards for use of their assets. We do have a friend of TTRP Theater. His name was Mark, and he runs something called Ice Cream Dice, who has been going through some unfortunate situations with sort of a scammer who sent in an odd invoice. If you would like to go support Ice Cream Dice, you can go check them out, Google them, or social media is a great way to spread the news, and support them by buying a product at icecreamdice.com. Other than that, I encourage you to stay for all the other shows on this network. Tonight we have Waterdeep Dragon Heist at 5 p.m. Pacific. Tomorrow we have Adventure with Advantage at the very, very early in the morning, 7 a.m. call time for Adventure Advantage Pacific time. Curse of Strahd tomorrow night. We do have a couple of Divinity, Cult Divinity Lost games, including one on Friday and one on Wednesday. We have Skald still here and A Land of Dark Dreams on Wednesday night. At least those are going to be our shows for next week. The week after that, we have a couple of our bi-weekly shows coming up, and I hope you enjoy that. We're going to go ahead and roll our title screen, and hopefully we will see you next week. Have a good evening. Morning. After. It's like 11. Why am I saying
Have a good day.
Good day.